Hello students, good morning. Today I have come with a poem, the first poem of class 10 prescribed by CBSE, and that is Dust of Snow. Students, as you understand by the title of the poem Dust of Snow, dust, what is dust? Tiny particles, very small particles of snow. Snow, I think you know it very well. What snow is? That is frozen water. That is snow. Dust of Snow, written by Robert Frost. Robert Frost, who is Robert Frost? He was a very prominent American poet. So, let us go through some very important points about the poet. The full name of the poet is Robert Lee Frost. He was born in March 26, 1874, and he died in January 29, 1963. He was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime and is the only poet to receive four Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. Four Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He became one of America's rare public literary figures, almost an artistic institution. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic works, and on July 22, 1961, Frost was named Poet Laureate of Vermont. His notable compositions are A Boy's Will, North of Boston, Mountain Interval, New Hampshire. These are the very notable works, notable compositions done by Robert Frost. Now students, I am coming on the poem Dust of Snow, and I am telling you about the poem, what the poem is all about. The poem Dust of Snow by Robert Frost is a simple and short poem. As you can see in your book, that the poem is very simple, diction is very simple, word meanings are very simple, and it is very short poem. You can see the poem is of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 lines. So this is the only 8 lines poem, but these 8 lines have a greater meaning to understand. The poet explains how an act as petty as experiencing snow on one's body can brighten one's day up. This is a very small event also. What the small event? As in the poem it is explained that tiny particles of snow, the dust of snow is fell down on poet who is sitting under a tree, and what the effect has come, what the impression has come, what the influence has come, that the poet here shares with us. The message of the poem is put into the words by Robert Frost. What the message here? Always, always a larger significance. Always, always a larger significance. A little thing touches a larger thing. What happens? A little thing, a very small thing can also touches a larger things. Means a very small event also has a greater influence, a greater effect. A tiny event, a very trivial event also has the capacity to change entire atmosphere, to change entire surrounding, to change one's whole life. So students, here let us start with the lines of the poem. The way a crow swooped down on me, the way the way means the method, the manner, in which manner a crow shook down on me. A crow, I think you know very well that it is a kind of black word, very unpleasant to see and listen. The crow is not a good word. It is not considered a very good word because nobody is interested in listening the shrill sound of crow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. The way means the manner in which way the crow shook down. Shook down means shake down on me, because here poet is sitting under a tree. The name of the tree is a hemlock tree. Why poet is sitting under a tree? Poet is very much alone. He is feeling unhappy. He is not feeling good. He is sad. And in this sad mood, he is sitting under a tree, and the tree is hemlock tree. Hemlock is, what is hemlock? Hemlock is a poisonous tree with small white flowers. So here students, you can see कि poet is sitting under a hemlock tree, and upon the tree, in the tree, who is sitting? A crow, and crow shook its branches, and from the branches, what happens? Slips the tiny particles of snow on poet. So students, here crow and hemlock both are the object of negativity, as the poet is also this time suffering negativity. Students, this is the explanation of the poem. The poem is set in a scene where the poet is in bad mood and is walking by a tree, a hemlock tree. Hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. As he passes by, a crow happens to throw some snow dust on him. Whether it falls on his head or shoulders is unknown, as there is no specific mention in the poem. Also, the readers are left in doubt about the word's specific action, whether the crow was landing, shivering with cold, readjusting itself on the branch, or taking off. It happened to send some particles of snow upon the author. Here, two agents of nature, the hemlock tree and the crow, was signifier of sadness, gloom, just like the poet's mood was in the opening scene. After that, this event means when the poet come under the tree, and upon the tree, crow comes on the branch shivers, and the snow particles that were hanging on the leaves fell down upon the poet. After that, what happens? When poet feels tiny particles of snow showering on his body, this event has given my heart. Has given my heart. What has given my heart? A change of mood. Means this event has changed the mood of poet and saved some part of a day I had rued, and saved some part of the day, and also saved because whole day he has been rued. Rued means held in regret. He was not feeling well. He was feeling sad. So here this is the explanation of the lines. Let us see. For reasons unknown, the author was having a terrible day. But the falling of the snow on his head lifted his mood instantly. He had already spent his day in a bad mood. What happened? The whole day he has spent his day in a bad mood. But the rest, how much hours, how much time, how much moment of the day is left, that can be saved. From where? Not spending in a bad mood, but that can be saved from bad mood, and that mood, his mood has been changed now. And what happened? He can feel well. He can feel happy now. So what happens? He had already spent his day in a bad mood, but the rest of it was saved by crow and hemlock tree. And here you can see that his bad moments has been changed into happy moments by crow and hemlock tree. Crow and hemlock tree are the object of negativity. So students, this line explains, the poem teaches us that even the negative moment of our life, when we are pessimistic, when we are sad, that time also, these moments are also able to change our life to change our mood, and to make us happy. Even the most unhappy moments are also able to give us happiness. My dear students, here I am going to remind you one of P.V. Shelley's poem. He writes in his poem Ode to Skylark, we look before and after, and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest song are those that tell of saddest thought. Our sweetest song are those that tell of saddest thought. So it means sweetest and saddest. Sadness, sweetest song means sweet thoughts are coming from the sad mood. So here from the sad mood means this is also the PV Shailesh O2 Scalar explains that how from the negativity we can withdraw positivity. From unhappiness we can draw happiness. Even in our negative mood we can change our positive mood. Generally, hemlock tree and crow are used for negative references, but the poet used them beautifully to portray that inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. Inauspicious things that we consider that they are inauspicious, but definitely they are not inauspicious. They are the object of nature, and every object of nature that is in our life is auspicious, can bring joy and happiness. One must not take things for granted and should be open and accept whichever way the nature chooses to bless us. Students, let us see some very much notable points. Symbols. Here you know that we can see crow is there, hemlock is there. So what is crow is the symbol of? Crow is the symbol of mourning. Mourning means unhappiness, weeping. Hemlock that is a poisonous tree, and poisonous tree is also the object of sorrow. Students, next question comes, what is the mood of the poet? What is the mood of the poem? So the mood is sad mood. I have mentioned here. You can understand it then. Question may come, what is the setting of the poem? The setting is winter season. You know it because snow and other things are not found in summer. Dust of snow. Dust of snow is, you know very well that dust of snow, tiny particles of snow. So their impact is what? What happens when they fell down on poet becomes happy. So these are also the symbol of happiness. After reading the poem, the question may come, what is the theme of the poem? The theme of the poem we can understand that happiness can be found in the darkest star. What is the theme? Theme of the poem is happiness can be found in the darkest hour, and even inauspicious things can give us joy. Students, give us joy is left here to right. So you should understand it. Inauspicious things which we consider that they are the agent of unhappiness. Inauspicious things we can consider that they cannot give joy us. Inauspicious things we regard it that they always bring unhappiness in our coming time. No, the poem teaches us that every object of nature, whether we consider that inauspicious or auspicious, always bring us joy. We should be positive about these things. So this is the theme of this poem. Students, now in this poem we are discussing literary devices. First of all, we are going to rhyming scheme, because rhyming scheme is a very important ornament of a poetry. So the rhyming scheme of the poem is AB AB, CD CD, and other literary device which is frequently used here in this poem is alliteration. Alliteration, you know that in Hindi it is known as Anupras Alankar. So what is the definition of alliteration? The occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Frequently arriving of the letter or the sound in a line, and if this situation is there, we can consider that there is the figure of speech, there is literary device, alliteration. The instances of alliteration are given in this poem in these two lines that can here has given my heart. So HH in this line, and saved some part, saved yes, and some SOME, some. So repetition of S's in the same line. So here the which figure of speech is there? Alliteration. Keep this thing in your mind. Students, next literary device is there, inversion. What is inversion? When the structure of a sentence is changed by the poet to create rhyme, this poetic license is called inversion. In stanza, one inversion can be seen. Students, what is the definition? When the structure of a sentence is changed by the poet to create rhyme. Structure of sentence is there. Suppose subject, verb and object. If such type of structure has been changed, so this is known as poetic license. This is known as poetic license. So inversion is also known by another term, that is poetic license. So this is called inversion, and we can see this in the first stanza. What? The way a crow shook down on me. The way a crow shook down on me. What? What shook down on me? The dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Understood? Next is assonance. Assonance. In our previous lecture, I have explained it. The prominence of a vowel sound throughout in a line is called assonance. In stanza 1, shook down on me. O, O, O. You can see the sound of O, alphabet O, that is vowel, is prominent in the line. So O sound is prominent. So this is assonance. Students, here I want to explain you that when a consonant sound is prominent, so when there, which figure of speech will be there? Which literary device will be used here? Consonants. If vowel sound is prominent, then it will be assonance. If consonant sound is prominent, then it is consonance. Students, other literary device is here enjambment. What is enjambment? When the same sentence continues to the next line without the use of any punctuation marks, it is called enjambment. It has been used throughout the poem. Students, in this poem, you can see from the first word, from the first line to the last line, this is the 8-line poem is there, and in which you have seen that there is no punctuation mark, neither comma nor full stop. So without punctuation, this is all in a one thorough sentence. The poem is, so this here, the technique, the literary technique which is used here, that is enjambment. Students, this is the summary of the poem is given here. I think there is no need to read the summary that is given for your help, because everything I have already explained it. So you read it. Students, after that, dust of snow, some questions, answers we have discussed. So first question is there, what is the dust of snow? What does the poet say has changed his mood? How has the poet mood changed? I think everything is clear to you. Dust of snow is the tiny particles of snow. What does the poet say has changed his mood? And that is the dust of snow, the tiny particles of snow, when they fell down on poet by shaking of a crow. So that has changed his mood. How has the poet mood has been changed? So, and you know it very well that this changed the poet's frame of mind instantly, and his day got a lot better, because these tiny particles fell down on him, so immediately his mood is changed. Some past recollections probably, because I am not sure about this, but still we can say that when the mood is changed, only the event that is coming in front of us is not able to change our mood. If the event is having the relation of some past recollections, and when with the encounter of that event, if we are getting the glimpse of past moments that has been very much joyful to us, in this situation our mood can be changed. So probably this would have been with the poet. Next question is there, how does Frost present nature in this poem? The following question may help you to think of an answer. What are the words that are usually named in poems? So usually I think you people also have listened many poems as you know that nightingale, cuckoo, skylarks. These are the poems because they are considered very beautiful in their sound. So poet used to take them as the symbol in their poem, but words like sparrow, nightingale, peacock are more than often named in poems. Unlike these words, crow are often seen as indicator of doom and fear. They are often used for negative references. So most of the poets did not take them as one of the character in their poem. Next question is, what is hemlock tree? Why doesn't the poet write about more beautiful trees such as maple or a oak or a pine? Students, answer of the question is trees are also seen as mighty creatures imparting wisdom as they are too old. They give out oxygen as absorb the carbon dioxide which is connected with absorbing all the negative energy. But there are trees that are poisonous too, like a hemlock tree. The poet does not mention a more beautiful tree such as maple, oak, and pine because he wants to indicate a sad scene. Being poisonous, a hemlock tree is considered bad, and so he refers it to. So, students, these are the questions you can read. I have given you for your help. I think, students, the poem is very much clear to you. If you have any question, you can put the question in the comment box and definitely I will give the answer. Okay, students, thank you. Have a nice day.